So welcome to Qube. My name is Olivia, and this is Erica and Connor. And our project is about people and their news consumption habits. So people want to be healthy, and we do a lot to become and stay healthy. We exercise, we try to eat better, we track our steps. But being a healthy person doesn't end with how you treat your body. Your mind is just as important, and news is like food for your brain. Just like with nutrition, the quality and variety of the news you consume and read impacts your well-being and worldview. If you've been online in the last 6 months, you've heard about fake news, and you know the crisis we're in. We fall for fake news because we believe things that match our bias, and the places we get our news from, social media, news curation apps, and the like, are programmed to cater to our biases. This has led to a hyper-fragmentation of information. We can find as much information as we want that matches our beliefs and our opinions. The side effect is seen in the news every day, with deepening divides between people and heightened national tensions. Finally, we're susceptible to fake news because we consume so much information so rapidly that we don't take the time to really understand what's there. It's like a sugar rush to the brain. So how can we get away from the fast food world of news and instead find a more balanced news diet?
How is it I know more about where my food comes from than my news? Thanks, Brandon. The information we consume is just as important as the food we eat. Let's be honest. When I read my news on Facebook, I skim through it fast. I see tons of news, and I don't really know much about the sources, their biases, or their intentions. Qube is my way of getting a healthy, balanced news diet. Instead of scrolling through endless news articles, Qube slows things down. It curates a set of 3 articles with different perspectives on one topic. Turning the Qube lets me see different articles.
It gets me in the habit of checking the bias and source of my news. By slowing things down, Qube helps me stop binging on news while being more informed than ever. Qube also has a companion app. It lets me keep track of the news I've read and set goals for myself. I can also check stats about my own bias, how good I am at guessing, and more about the topics I read.
Thanks to my Qube, I'm more aware of what I read and more empowered than ever to change my news diet.
Qube, a new way to news.
So why did we choose Qube as our solution? We knew that stopping the spread of fake news was an endeavor beyond the scope of this capstone. So instead, we focused on helping the individual when they encounter fake news. We began our research by looking into bias psychology, propaganda theory, and behavior change methodologies. Next, we spoke with experts about information literacy, fake news spread on social media, and social media algorithms. These talks pointed us in the direction of fact-checking on the part of the news consumer. From here, we needed to understand people's interest in and ability to fact-check news on social media. Through observations and task analysis, we found that people trust news and sources based on how it makes them feel. This makes them susceptible to the emotional manipulations of fake news they see on social media. To make matters worse, we learned that the social media ecosystem is designed to catch and maintain people's attention by amplifying their biases. So when people encounter fake news, it triggers their bias by confirming what they believe. Then, when they engage with fake news, the algorithms that drive their content update with this preference data. A vicious fake news cycle ensues. Lastly, we found several reasons why fact-checking just doesn't work. First, fact-checking breaks the experience of social media. Social media is set up for fast consumption, and asking people to slow down in this environment is counterintuitive. Second, fact-checking is hard to do, and people are a lot worse at it than they think they are. Third, we also found that people are less likely to fact-check if they don't know anything about the topic. This is because news in the digital realm is not set up to make it easy for the average person to fact check. So because of this, we know that solutions that require non-critical thinking will not impact the problem space. But solutions that require a large amount of critical thinking, such as fact-checking, are not appropriate. Our sweet spot lies in the middle, and there we identified bias exposure, slowing down news consumption, and news literacy education as possible avenues of exploration. Qube manages to touch on all three design opportunities. In essence, it's a new way to change news behavior. And because of this, our design decisions keep long-term behavior change at the forefront. So now let's go deeper into Qube's features. Qube helps you burst your news bubble. When you pick the Qube up, it shows you 3 articles on the same topic, each with different biases. The topics displayed are intentionally randomized instead of overtly personalized, and source information is initially hidden. This delays any emotional response to the source, which would cause people to not read what is there. Qube also helps you better detect bias. The best way at getting better at recognizing fake news and content validity is by creating a habit of checking the source information of what you're reading. Qube helps you do that. By guessing bias before you know the source, you are training yourself to engage with the words written and check the source of those words. Our source bias ratings are assigned by an editorial staff that reviews each source and its article history for an understanding of the source's bias. So not only is social media set up to encourage endless scrolling, but also the shape of phones themselves encourage this behavior. We instead promote a slowing down of news consumption through the Qube's unique shape. Physically turning the Qube is needed to get to the next article, as well as its source information. We draw on the theories of slow interaction design and persuasive technology as a framing for Qube.
So the companion app brings 2 things, intention and awareness. We bring intention into the act of changing news behavior by letting you set goals. These goals are broken down by bias and topic, and setting goals for news consumption is a novel approach to bringing intention to the act of changing your news behavior. The app also brings you awareness. By showing you stats on your bias breakdown, your topic engagement, and your tendencies over time, you can see your progress on the news goals you've set for yourself. As one participant put it, it's like fitness tracking for your news. Finally, the Qube fits into your morning routine. When the Qube is set down for more than 1 minute, the passive mode becomes enabled. This mode shows you the time, date, and weather. It also serves as an alarm clock. To turn off your alarm, just pick up the Qube. In the future, we would like to include social media data into Qube's companion app stats. We would like to ask our users for their input on source bias so that we can identify and address any discrepancies in the bias rating system. Third, we would like to introduce a learning mode where the source is constantly available. This will help prolong the shelf life of the product and let it become a platform that encourages news source education. And perhaps after mastery of the guessing game is achieved, it can become a pure news engagement device. Finally, we imagine the Qube has many contexts in which it could be useful, not just in the home. It could live in public spaces such as classrooms and libraries, and perhaps people could log into the Qube simply by proximity.
So Qube is our response to this hyperfragmentation and hyperfast consumption of news and information, and we hope that by exposing people to news beyond what they would normally see, it will help make them healthier, more well-rounded citizens. And with that, I would like to thank everyone, our teachers, our experts, our sponsor, participants, and especially our friends and family. Thank you.